Good day everyone and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be discussing Black Clover chapter 305 titled The Vice Captain of the Golden Dawn. So again, implying that the Vice Captain of the Golden Dawn centric chapter, it is that type of chapter. And as we saw last chapter, the fight with Majukula ended. So we're jumping straight into the fight with Zenon now. So, of course, before we start, spoiler warning. First thing is a color page at the beginning of the chapter, and it is the results from a vote that they had, and they had over 838,000 votes. Hopefully my maths is correct. And we get the top three in color, of course. Asta being number 2, Noel being number 1, of course, because she's a waifu, and Not being number 3. So yeah, now let's dive straight into the chapter. So the chapter starts off with asking Langris to buy him 3 minutes. And Langris is thinking to himself that, that's gonna be hard. But it's like he can't fire, or Zenon can't fire in while he's on the defensive. And in order to take that guy down, Langris is thinking this: in order to take him down, he has to distract him for to get in an attack. And he's saying that it's not going to be possible for him to buy a whole 3 minutes. But it's nice to see that throughout this chapter we have a back and forth with Langris and and they've become more nice towards each other, kind of friendly. Because compliments him and says, you're the Clover Kingdom's strongest spatial magic. So I'm sure you'll be able to see a way through this. And don't tell me you're just going to let Zenon keep attacking you. But this is interesting because Zenon uses attack next to attack Langris, and it's like a Naruto reference here. Remember when Kimimaru was using his curse form second stage, he pulled out his spine and made a whip of it. So Zenon is using an attack like that, but instead of being one, it's a barrage of the whips. And in order to fend this off, we get Langris using a new attack called Spatial Magic. Yeah, I need to look to remember this because it's a whole long name. So my bad for jumping to the side to actually see the full name, but it's Spatial Mages who've mastered Mana Zone, he says. So it's a Mana Zone attack. But the difference between this Mana Zone is Zenon's Mana Zone encapsulated the whole area, while Langris's, he makes like a barrier around him. We don't get the name, my bad. But we get him creating a force field for his Mana Zone, kinda. So all the attacks that are hitting his Mana Zone seems to be disintegrating. So he's on the defensive and charging in at Zenon. But it's not holding up too well. So that is a bad thing. But we see him charging at him, and while he's charging, we see in the background kinda saying that is there charging up his attack, and he says that he's working on it while Langris is kinda being the decoy. Then so it's like, I'm working on this attack. He's charging it up, and we see him in the background with the winds going towards him, and get a glimpse of the Golden Dawn behind, So again, more of the whole thing that is the true vice captain. And Langris was the former one, so they have that kind of rivalry but respect for each other now. But yeah, that aside, because this is a fighting chapter, we don't need mushy stuff. We see Langrus attacks again, and he charges in with his attack, and he gains or closes the distance between him and Zenon. So he's right up on him, and he says to Yuno that you really are the vice captain of the Golden Dawn. And something bad happens when he does this hero move, because we see Zenon's bone whips, break his mana zone barrier force field thing and impales Langrus. And he says, Zenon tells him, well, you're not really stronger than me, you're weak. But Langrus overpowers this and still charges forward while being impaled. So he has a moment then, I guess, of him just wanting to prove himself. And he says, basically he says, we are the ultimate brigade, the Golden Dawn. And he charges straight at Zenon. Force field down now. And while he's directly in front of Zenon, it seems that this was a kind of tactic where you obscure the view and then somebody attacks. But final page now, we cut it and we see has finished charging up his attack. He's in his spirit dive full form, and he pulls out a bow and arrow, and he calls this attack Wind Spirit Creation Magic Spirit of Eros. Eros. E-U-R-O-S. Eros is usually like Greek and E-R-O-S, so I don't know if it's Eros or Eros. But it's a giant bow and arrow, and we see Zenon with a confused, shocked look, worried look on his face, and the chapter ends there. But yeah, this review is probably like all over the place because a lot has happened, but at the same time, it had a lot of talking in between the fight, which I don't like. But yeah, essentially this chapter was Zenon and Langrus. And Langrus and teamed up, became friends, and used a good combo tag team tactic to get the upper hand on Zenon. And I'm guessing next chapter we'll see Yuno's attack hit Zenon, and we'll see the after effects if it's strong enough to take him out, or if he's going to have to go above and beyond that and do something even greater to it. But all in all, it was a decent chapter. Not the best. It was kind of slow. Fighting was good, but the pacing, I thought the pacing was kind of for this chapter with all the in between the fights. Or in between the fight. I feel like we should have like the whole chapter be and Langrus talking, maybe coming up with their plan, and then keep the fighting for the next chapter instead of having it in between. Or have this be the whole fighting chapter, and then maybe the next chapter be a little flashback with them coming up with their plan before going into the fight. But all in all, decent chapter. Not the best, not a great chapter, a good chapter. So yeah, hope you all enjoyed this mini review. Again, I think next chapter we'll see the outcome of this new attack from see how strong it actually is, and going from there, I would assume we have maybe 2 more chapters with this fight, and then after that, I don't know what will happen, because we still need them to close the gates of hell or the underworld and stop the demons from coming through. So we'll see how that goes. I'm going to assume now, if the author is kinda not going to hide from taking big leaps, I would assume what they could do is have Yami and Vengeance be possessed by super strong devils, and then everyone has to team up to fight both of them, and that leads to them dying. And that's just my opinion on a great story they could do, and maybe they will, maybe they won't, we'll see. But yeah, all in all, good chapter. Not great, like I said. Let me know what you all thought, and I'll see you all for the next one next week if there is one. So yeah.